When you got to the top there and you saw Officer McCrillis, did you see her baton anywhere?
It was on the floor, or the concrete walkway.
Can you describe where it was on the concrete walkway?
It was on the, I think it was on the south side of the door behind her.
Was it unusual for you to have someone say that he tried to steal our stick when the stick is actually on the ground a few feet away from them?
Well, I just learned that that's what that sounded like, steal. I didn't hear that.
Well, did it surprise you to learn that she was complaining about someone taking her stick, but when you got there, her stick was actually within reach of her?
Was I surprised by that?
Yes.
I can't really remember if I was surprised. I know that it was just a weird event. I mean, you could tell that there was a fight, there had been a fight.
You could tell there had been a fight based on what?
Well, the way she looked, the way she was acting, and then her baton was on the deck.
Was there anything preventing her from picking up her baton?
No, sir.
Do you know why she did not?
No, sir.
Did you ever see her hold her baton at any time?
No, sir.
When you looked in and saw the two of them, he could have charged her at that point, true?
Yes.
He did not, right?
Correct.
Now, when you first looked in and you saw Donna Lesher against the wall there, was there any physical obstruction between her and the frame of the front door?
No.
Based on your observation of the scene, could she have simply turned to her left and walked out the door?
Yes.
She didn't do that, did she?
No.
Donna Lesher was not trapped in that corner, was she?
No.
Once Donna Lesher came out of that apartment, is it a true statement that at that time, all four officers were outside on the walkway and only Mr. Ellison was inside?
Correct.
Once Donna Lesher came out of that apartment, could any one of you had shut the door at that time?
Yes.
Did anyone do that?
No.
Why did you not do that?
Well, you already had a situation going. You wouldn't close the door to further something else going on, and those circumstances could create a barricaded subject at that point.
But you don't know what situation was going on, do you?
Well, it was a high-tense situation, and that was for sure, with the way everyone was acting. Although I didn't witness anything, it was clear something had occurred, and as a Little Rock police officer, you do not leave the area and close it down to let something else occur.
But you might do that if you feared deadly force out of the person inside, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Does that mean to say you didn't fear deadly force out of Mr. Ellison?
I don't know. I wasn't there for all the stuff that happened initially.
I'm talking about at the time that you were there, though.
At that point, no, I did not fear him.
You did not have a fear of deadly force from Mr. Ellison when you got there, did you?
No, I did not.
Once Donna Lesher was out of the apartment, all four of you could have walked away. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Once Donna Lesher was out of the apartment, all four of you could have moved to a location and conferred with each other and decided to decide a means to handle the situation, correct?
Correct.
And you could have, for instance, decided that you were going to group tackle him, correct?
Correct.
That didn't happen, did it?
No.
You could even gone down the stairs to the courtyard and just tried to figure out what's happening and wait for more backup, true?
True. But what you're describing are all things that Little Rock police officers will not do after encountering a subject.
But you don't know the propriety, though, of their initial engagement in terms of police practice, do you?
As far as...
You have no idea, at that time, Officer Lucio, is it a true statement that you didn't have any idea of why they were there, correct?
No, I did not.
And by they, I mean Officers McCrillis and Lesher. Did you understand what that meant?
Yes, sir.
You didn't know if there was a call reported, right?
Correct.
You didn't know if there was an emergency reported, right?
Correct.
You didn't know if there was a crime in progress, correct?
That's correct.
You were lacking certain information to know what the best next step was. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Did you assume that whatever the situation was, it wasn't a result of police misconduct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
We've agreed that you don't know how things got to where they were before you arrived, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you think about scenarios that could have unfolded that got them there? Meaning Officers McCrillis and Lesher?
No, sir.
Were you operating under the assumption that Mr. Ellison was a criminal or a criminal suspect?
Criminal suspect.
That was based on what?
Them being there at that apartment, it's the assumption that if they were working off duty there, they were at that apartment, it was for a reason.
So fair to say that you assumed that he was a criminal suspect?
Correct.
As we sit here today, do you know if he was a criminal suspect prior to their entering his home?
No, sir.
You don't know that yet.
No, sir, I do not.
Were you surprised that Donna Lesher shot Mr. Ellison?
No, sir.
Why not?
Well, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what was occurring. I had no vision. I just saw the gun, and I stayed where I was out of the line of fire.
When she shot that gun, did you assume that Mr. Ellison was using deadly force?
I didn't know what was happening, so she had the clear view, and she made that assessment, and it's something that I couldn't do.
How much time passed between your pulling her out by the sleeve and her firing her gun?
I don't know. A few seconds.
How much time passed between Tabitha McCrillis using her pepper spray and Donna Lesher shooting Mr. Ellison?
The same seconds.
You don't have an opinion as to whether you and Officer Boyce could have subdued him without killing him?
I was not there for the event that happened prior to my arrival. Once I arrived and those events unfolded, they happened quick enough where I wasn't able to do anything. So the circumstances at hand dictated the actions. I wasn't there for everything that happened prior to my arrival, like you said. I don't know how they contemplated everything, what they were perceiving, how they felt, and the manner that they were acting was due to whatever circumstances happened prior to my arrival.
You were asked several what-if questions during the earlier part of the deposition, such as what if you had used pepper spray, what if you had used your asp, what if you had simply closed the door and moved away. I want to ask, if you had done that and someone in the apartment had hurt Mr. Ellison, would you be considered to have committed a dereliction of duty under the Little Rock Police Department rules and regulations? If you had just closed the door, moved away, and Mr. Ellison had hurt someone?
Yes.
Let's take it a step further. What if you had closed the door, moved away, and somebody hurt Mr. Ellison?
Yes.
That would be. During your direct testimony on deposition, several questions were asked. Could you have done this? Could you have done that? And it took several minutes to get through that. Did you have that kind of time frame when you were actually involved in the incident?
No.
You indicated that, at least from your vision, you were not aware actually of what had transpired on your arrival at the scene, but you also indicated that you heard radio traffic. Based on your training, background, and experience as a law enforcement officer, what did you glean from the radio traffic as to what was happening at the apartment?
A fight.
Okay. And why did you glean that?
The distress of the individual on the radio and the language that was used.
When you got to the apartment, did you see anything that was inconsistent with the image that you had formed from listening to the audio?
No.
You stated that you saw Mr. Ellison in a fighting stance when you arrived and first got a look inside the apartment. Did he appear to be cooperative?
No.
Did he ever once obey the commands that he was given by the police officers?
No.
And what was the weather like that night?
It was chilly.